go naked without my feathers on.
You solid?
Yep. I'll be downstairs.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sean and Sax Show. Welcome to the show. I'm Sean. This is Sax,
Hello.
and we're here in the new spot. We bought a building, and we're going to be building out a real proper studio here pretty soon. And for the time being, we have these two lovely plants.
We just found some plants.
Backdrop. So we just bought this building and moved everything over here, and we're going to build some proper sets. I'm really excited about it, actually. We have a whole upstairs. It's going to be all of our sets for all of the shows and all of the things that are coming, and it's going to be great. You did a great job with the plants today. It looks very home.
It's better than just a
homey.
plain gray wall, I figured.
Yeah.
Add a
So
little
Sax follows a page on Instagram. We decided we were going to talk about this today because she sent it to me and found a lot of insight in it. So
Yeah.
from the Conscious Wife page.
She's a therapist.
She's a therapist.
A real therapist.
I did not follow the Conscious Wife. I did not know of the Conscious Wife prior to receiving this message on Instagram from my wife this morning. So I thought it'd be cool to talk about this. And the title of it, from the Conscious Wife, is Why We Feel Frustrated in Our Romantic Relationships. Or relationship, we should say, because you don't have any
We are in Utah, and
relationships,
there are
correct?
polygamists here, but we are not such.
You only have one romantic relationship,
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to confirm.
I am not one of the, I don't partake in
Well, that's
polygamy.
good. We're off to a good start then. This will be a great conversation. We've been in the thick of it. We've been in dealing with a lot of different changes and a lot of things, and it's been an interesting couple of weeks and a how would you describe it? Sax?
Contentious,
Contentious?
but also just hopeful, because this is how you grow.
What's contentious?
I would say the disconnection,
Yeah? Okay.
but there's also the silver lining side. There's the other side of the coin, which is you go through it to grow through it.
You go through the shit. So she sent me this, and I thought it was interesting, and Sax said that this was a very beautiful thing, which is why she sent it. So there's like 5 or 6 slides. So I'm gonna read these to you, babe, and we're gonna talk about it. The first slide says, the truth is that we choose partners who have been wounded in the same developmental stage as us, but developed the opposite way of defending themselves. So the truth is we choose partners who have been wounded at the same developmental stage as us, which is an interesting thought process. Like, how do you go back to that, figure that out? But developed the opposite way of defending themselves. What does that mean to you?
I would say it really is, it's a lot what we've talked about. I think it was on even the last show, is where, you and I are doing a lot of inner child healing, and it's within the same age range of when those things happened. And I deal with things of more of like, I go under and you're an over, right? And so you fight bears, and I would rather just, I get more shut down and sad. So that's the opposite of how I've coped, and it's the opposite of how you've coped. That's how
And it starts wars. Yes?
well,
The
that's
opposite
just,
ways of coping, or the opposite ways of defending. It's an interesting thing, the defending part. The opposite way of defending themselves.
right, because I defend myself by shutting down and armoring up, like a turtle, right? You defend yourself by fighting bears.
Right.
You go to war. So that's the defense. It's also coping, because it's a mechanism that worked when we didn't have coping skills as children. So we developed, this is why intimate relationships are such a not breeding ground, they're such a fertile ground for expansion and healing, because you get to learn as an adult how to cope in ways that aren't destructive, or that aren't like an 8-year-old or a 6-year-old. And we get to better show up for ourselves and our relationships. And we get to do that by reparenting ourselves, by having a partner that can see that and with patience, you baby step into a more secure relationship because you learn better ways to cope and defend yourself.
I think it. Quote, in this way, our unconscious leads us to the person who is unable to meet our needs and incompatibly becomes the basis for attraction. That's a really interesting one. We could do 6 podcasts on this.
But I've also shared my thought on this is because this is where like the joke's on us, that I feel like our alignment with from God is that we're set up with a partner that's going to challenge us and trigger us and illuminate all of our dark, painful places. And they can't do that if they don't have the ability to do that, literally. And so it's like you see it a lot. You're subconsciously attracted to a person that's going to do that. I don't look at that as negative, because if I'm not going to be with a person that's not going to challenge me to heal those spots, even if you don't even consciously do it, you're just doing it, and vice versa. Like, I get to go in and be like, fuck this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and you won't take your finger out of that alley of mine, right? Well, what do? I have one of 2 choices. I heal it, I learn about it, I get curious, I sit there, I literally just sit there in it, do inventory, and then I get better, or I just say, fuck it, fuck you, I'm out, I'm done. I don't want to look at that. So I think that's the beautiful part of that. What are your thoughts?
It's an interesting thought process. The unconscious leads us to the person unable to meet our needs and incompatibly becomes the basis for attraction. It's like they say, opposites attract.
Right. For a very good reason. But continue, because there's like...
I know, I wanted to go through this because it's an interesting conversation piece, and it's an interesting thought process with where we've been in the thick of things, and how we perceive things, and how we look at things, and how we judge things. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because, it's talking about the different ways that we defend ourselves, and obviously we do that, and then the unconscious, like literally leading us to the person, because we couldn't be more polar opposite in how we handle conflict, right. What we do in the conflict. And the real interesting thing is, like, where do you go? Do you change? Are things changing? And I think that's one of our major conflicts right now is anything changing? Is it changing? And
depends
if it's not,
on
then what do you do?
It depends on which measuring stick. If you're going off millimeters or miles, that's also perspective. I've always said if we're getting 1% better, we're moving in the right direction. Now if the hair needs to move miles fast, well, I don't just throttle through life. Like, I process, I'm slow, I'm a tortoise, I feel things, I analyze, I do inventory. I have to I want to compare. Is this me? Is this you? How do I feel about this? Where is this coming from? So I don't just power forward. So this is where I would say that we're tremendously more connected, truly, than we were when we first got married. Now, does that mean that we're not uncovering more things as time goes on? But that doesn't mean that's not progress. I think it's definitely the measuring tool you're looking at.
Yeah. Quote, however we engage in our personal development and work to resolve the defenses that developed early on in life, we become ideal mates.
Mm-hmm. And this is the part that I love, and this is why I sent it to you, because one thing that I love about us is that you've never had a person like me in your life, where I don't fight well. I don't know how to fight bears. I go in a direction that is foreign to you, which in the beginning was like, really, you didn't love that, right? That was really almost repulsive, and both ways. I didn't like at all that you like to fight. I despised it. I was super resentful, but then I realized, I'm like, wait, this is just the other side of the same coin of unhealthy ways of coping and managing being triggered in a relationship. So you've shown me strengths and weaknesses of a person that goes high, and I would fathom that I show you strengths and weaknesses of a person that sits in things and sits with it and processes it and feels, and I feel like we're learning and gaining wisdom and knowledge from each other to where we can both come closer, because being on either side too far is not going to be healthy. But moving together, where I can say, well, I can pick up more tools like this from your tool basket, and vice versa, to where we slowly move together, and then we don't go over under. We have a more balanced way of sitting with something. But if we don't have a partner that can model that, or that shows us that exists, you have two people that just want to fight. Well, where are you going to learn? You both know how to fight really well, right? So that was the beautiful part to me.
Yeah. Quote, "The psyche does this because it believes if it can create a relationship with someone who is like the person that originally wounded us, and then get that person to change for the better, that in essence has created the caregiver we needed and healed the past."
So that one, these guys are being so loud. We're in the warehouse. Sorry guys, there's a little
I
squirrel.
don't think you can hear it, but
But so on that one, I don't know how much I resonate with that slide, because I don't like the idea of having someone else change in order for me to heal that, or person A heal that. I think that a better way that I would say it is it gives me a reflection to heal, to reparent and heal what's triggered me when I was little, which is where our triggers come from, all of us, right? It's like it's a brain pattern, right? So you default back to that. But I don't think it's inevitably has anything to do with you changing. I think it's me getting to sit and do things differently, with more wisdom, with a more mature brain, with the frontal lobe developed, with better tools to then heal that. So I think it's more of like the presence of the person, not the person necessarily changing. Now, if the person doesn't change at all and there's still that other extreme, then that's going to have issues.
So here's a question: who gets to determine the change?
Well, I don't agree with that slide necessarily, so I don't know.
So in our case, when we're at it, when we're in contention, when we're dealing with our shit, one of the things that we keep coming back to is the change, and is this different or whatever. Like, I say things are different, you say they're not. You say things are different, I say they're not. Where's the benchmark for that? Who determines that? Because that in and of itself is war. That in and of itself is contention, and you'll stay in contention because you're trying to win or prove I'm right, you're wrong, I've changed, you haven't, you've changed, I haven't, and it's this really vicious cycle.
Well, why does somebody have to win? Why can't both people have right? Why can't both people be correct?
Well, when do you find the most when do you find the most war, and when do you find the most contention? It's when you're looking outside. When you're looking inside and realizing, oh shit, like I've got a hand in this, I've got a part in this. That's when actually stuff starts changing.
This is why when a person continually is like you, that's
Amen.
Hence why we have problems.
Amen. Quote, "Frustration occurs because of the pain that comes with having to be in that triggering relationship again." Talk about it, babe.
I would say that I hear this one a lot from you, because it's like we both deserve to be happy. We deserve to be happy, and I'm like, okay, well, what does happiness mean? What does that mean? Does it mean you don't want to do this hard thing? Does it mean you don't want to do this relationship? Does it mean you don't want to sit in that and feel that and process that, and maybe not? And now I'm not talking generally about, or now I'm speaking more generally. It's like, or do you want to just blame it on your partner because you don't want to look at the pain of where that may actually be coming from, and that partner's just reflecting that back at you? So, yeah, I mean, that's a huge question.
So how do you look at there's a lot of and this is like the meme. We'll call this the meme episode, right? There's a lot of conversation around standing and supporting somebody as they go through their shit versus attacking their shit. Talk about that for a second, because I think that's one thing that we struggle with. That's one thing I struggle with.
Yeah.
Is when I get into my shit, there's not a lot of empathy. There's not a lot of holding space. There's a lot of interesting frustration, finger pointing, kind of a deal.
Well,
from my experience. So what I'm
Yeah.
asking you is, what does that look like for you?
Well, I think it also, so to hold space for someone is a very loving, powerful thing. However, if like a lot of the things that we struggle with is, it's it's the blame shame game, right? You want to cast a lot of blame and point a lot of fingers and project whatever you're hurt about, but then you also want me to hold space for that. And that takes a very, very, very highly evolved person that can really withstand not being triggered after being T-boned to not, to not feel like, whoa, where did that come from? And why, instead of saying, hey, I'm triggered, this is how I'm feeling about this, it's not about you. See, that's the key, is like saying you is really hard for the person. Oh, I'm just gonna hold space as you just blame shamed me. And it's like, okay, but if you're like, I'm triggered,
Okay.
I'm letting you know that I feel really insecure about that thing that just happened. I know you're not that way, but this is how I'm feeling. That's when it's easier to hold space for someone. But yeah, like a sensei, Yoda, like monks, whatever, can probably be like, oh, this attack has nothing to do with me. That's a goal for me. I would love to.
So what
get
if it's
to
not
a
an
place.
attack? Let me ask you that. What if it's not an attack? What if because this is something that we need to solve in our relationship. Sure. Is you feel everything I say to you as I'm attacking you?
No, not everything.
The majority of it. And based off of this, when we talk about our childhood traumas and our childhood whatever, we can talk about what that looks like, whatever. We're just going to use that phrase because I think a lot of people understand that phrase. Mm-hmm. Was, you retreating and feeling like you were a victim and you couldn't do right and you were never doing anything right. And so hearing, I'm constantly at fault, you're being attacked and attacked and attacked. At what point in time do you stop and say, okay, if I'm constantly feeling attacked, maybe I'm not really understanding how to communicate or hear this person. Is there a possibility in that?
Of course there's a possibility in that. However, when it's very direct and an insult, it's not that. So if you're feeling insecure about something, but instead of saying, hey, I'm insecure about that, like, tell me more about why you need to go get makeup on. And it's not about your wife wanting to impress other people necessarily in a way would not be good for her marriage. And I'm saying that very sugar-coated, but that's an attack. Because it wasn't, hey, I'm feeling insecure. It's, you just want to do this for this reason. And it's like, well, you didn't ask. You didn't get curious. And just saying, hey, like, that triggered me, I'm feeling insecure. Why do you want to do that? That's when
what's interesting.
That's a healthy conversation.
Yeah. And it's just, I'll give everybody the quick preface of the story that Zach's talking about. We were going to the gym the other morning and I got a text from a friend and he was doing a big car show thing and I decided, let's go to the gym together, let's work out together. And we got in the car, we're ready to go. And I told you about the thing and like, whoa, wait a second. Okay. And you ran inside and you decided to get makeup on and get done up and the whole thing. And
no, I didn't get done up. I just wanted to look like I didn't go out.
You went in and spent some time getting your makeup on and getting ready to go out and do the whole thing. And it bugged the shit out of me. And I'm like, you'll go to the gym with me like this, but we're going to go hang out with a bunch of freaking car guys and rich guys and you need to get makeup on. And that started a freaking war.
Yeah, because I don't get ready to go to the gym, but I do get ready to go out in public because it makes me feel better.
Well, the gym is public, dear.
No, the gym is where I get sweaty. The gym is where I get sweaty. I don't get dolled up to go to the gym. And I do, if I was going to go out and be in public, I would literally just go to bed. And I wanted to look comfortable because I like to look presentable and comfortable. That's the way I am. And so I spent 6 minutes in the house and that became a big issue.
Right. And that triggered you when I said that.
That I wanted to get dolled up for rich men? Yeah. because that wasn't it. It had nothing to do with Richmond, and it had nothing to do with you. It was that I felt more comfortable not looking like I just rolled out of bed to go to an event compared to if I was going to go get sweaty at the gym.
So here's part of the other question with this is when you're in a triggered state, is it possible that you hear things and assume things that aren't necessarily true?
Did you not say that?
No.
What did you say?
I said exactly what I just said.
Okay.
We're going to go to the gym. You're going to go get a bunch of makeup on to go to this car show with a bunch of dudes there. That's exactly what I said.
A bunch of rich dudes, but you didn't want to get dressed up or done up for me. That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I heard, and that's what I worried about.
And that triggered you.
Well, sure.
Right.
Because I would not think my husband should think that low of me when I am.
Why is that thinking low of you?
That
versus stating the obvious, stating what's real.
That wasn't obvious. That was your perception and your perspective. I wanted to just look like half decent to go into public because I care about the way I look. I care about looking presentable. It makes me feel better about myself. Now going to the gym, I get so sweaty, I never get ready. So they're two different places.
Okay.
If I got dolled up to go to the gym, then we might have a problem. Because that to me, that's something, but,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll go to the next slide.
Okay.
It is also frustrating because we see the potential in our partner to become who they were supposed to be and who we need them to be for us, but must be patient with them as they transform, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I love this one, because I
Why
think
is
that that's real love. I think that's real love is when you, and then Jordan Peterson talked about this on stage, like, I see you. I see the most beautiful version of you. Hence why, like, and I do the same thing with the kids. This is why I don't just roll over, and I don't just, you know, we hold each other to high standards. We've shared this so many times on this podcast. We hold each other to extremely high standards of who we can become. And that doesn't always mean on co-signing on each other's bullshit. Because true love, real love, like truth, right? Truth trumps everything. So if I know that like you're cutting corners or if I'm cutting corners, it's like, it's my due diligence and your due diligence as a partner to help me become and evolve to the best version of myself. And that's not always pretty. It's literally the same thing as the kids. Like I say the same thing to them. I'm like, you may not like me today, but I love you enough to see your excellence, and I won't settle for you to just be good enough because you don't believe in your own excellence. It's exactly the same thing, and that's not always pretty. But it's like any good coach does this. You're brilliant at this as a coach. Like when you coach people, you don't like, oh, attaboy, pat you on the bum. Like sometimes you like make them feel really uncomfortable things, but it helps them evolve if they're willing to look at that, right? And I think that that's the hard part about the dynamic of an intimate relationship is it's like there's a higher risk involved, which means there's more threat, right? Because that's how our ego works, our animal, our primal nervous system works, is it's like, okay, there's a higher threat, and now this person's, it's feeling like I might be rejected or I might be at risk here. But if we have true faith in our relationship and we truly have faith in our partner, maybe it's like, okay, if what they're saying might be valid, okay, but do I need to just like you have to trust and have faith in your partner and not just want to bail because it's hard, or not, just sit and deflect and play this tennis match of like nope, or project your pain onto them because you don't want to look at that.
What does projecting your pain mean? Like, because let's go back to that
Sure.
experience. Like that was real. What happened? Like that's what I saw. You're willing to go to the gym with me like this,
right,
but we're going to stop by some random thing and you need to get dolled up. That's real to me.